You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Republicans are finally saying out loud what Trump is doing to them, based on an article by Sarah K. Burris. Trump's voting scheme is the point, not the spin. The party has a boss, not a coalition. Republicans are not struggling with messaging. They are trapped in a structure where Donald Trump sets the agenda, picks the enemies, and hands out the blame. The reporting makes that plain. Speaker Mike Johnson is looking for a way to wedge Trump's voting restrictions into a Pentagon budget bill because the real goal is not clean lawmaking. It is to force through an anti-voter project while laundering responsibility through procedure. That is what institutional capture looks like in practice. The House has already passed the measure as a standalone. The Senate will not take it, and Trump is already trying to turn the inevitable failure into someone else's fault. The bill is disenfranchisement with a flag draped over it. The source is blunt about what is being attempted. Restrictions meant to curb Democratic votes, plus a poll tax element that ought to be unconstitutional and illegal. That is not a reform agenda. That is voter suppression with legal varnish. Trump also wants to target mail-in voting, even though Republicans use it too. So this is not about clean elections. It is about narrowing the electorate, imposing costs on participation, and calling that integrity. When a political movement tells you it needs fewer voters to function, believe it. Procedure is the alibi. Republicans are leaning on the Pentagon budget bill because they know the standalone version cannot survive the Senate. The buy-it rule is doing what the party will not, blocking a policy that does not belong in a budget vehicle. But the important fact is not the rule itself. It is that GOP leaders are trying to use must-pass legislation as a delivery system for anti-democratic policy. That is the misdirection. The public is asked to cede a technical budgeting dispute when the real issue is deliberate electoral sabotage. Republicans want to hide the violence of the policy inside parliamentary machinery and then pretend the machinery is the story. Blame is being preposition. Trump is already attacking his own members, including Brian Fitzpatrick, and going after Senate incumbents who should be receiving help, not humiliation. Republicans know what this means. If the party loses in 2026, Trump wants them to carry the wreckage while he poses as the betrayed strawman. One GOP senator says Trump will blame them if the SAVE Act fails. That is not paranoia. It is a working theory of power. Trump dominates, the caucus submits, and then the damage gets distributed downward. Leaders with actual leverage do the harm. Subordinates eat the cost. Democratic openings still require Democratic clarity. NBC's reporting suggests Democrats cede an opening, and they are right to read this as self-defeating bullying. Trump is spending political capital on revenge, loyalty tests, and vanity projects while ignoring governance. That split matters. But the larger lesson is sharper than Republicans are in disarray. A party that cannot criticize its leader becomes a vehicle for his worst impulses, then a dumping ground for his failures. The damage is not accidental. It is the operating logic of a movement built around domination first, governance never. The real pattern. This story is not about one bad bill or one more Senate fight. It is about a party trying to survive by shrinking the electorate, hiding repression inside procedure, and assigning blame before the outcome even arrives. That is the pattern. Authoritarian politics dressed up as legislative strategy, with ordinary voters treated as obstacles to be managed. The useful answer is not to normalize the stunt or wait for Republican self-destruction. It is to name the project accurately. Voter suppression, procedural sabotage, and leadership by coercion. The GOP is not drifting into dysfunction. It is using dysfunction as cover for rule by exclusion. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to AlterNet for today's article. With the automated voice of Clara, thanks for listening.